Hi everyone. It's great to be here. So on the main stage, you've already seen a few of the new products we've announced, and since it's the main stage, they asked me to take the breakout stage to do this in a live setting for you. So I hope there's no flaky Wi-Fi or anything, that it will all go smooth. But let's run through a few of the things you've just seen, and let's try and make it a little bit more interactive. And hopefully you will try this out yourselves later today, or well, let's be honest, somewhere tomorrow, because after the drinks it will probably not happen anymore. First question though, is there anyone here that's already using Sense Analyst or our MCP connections? A few, just a few, okay. So there are a lot of people who can actually start working with this tomorrow. Very excited to see that happen as well. Taking that one step back before we go into actually showing it, we have our AI philosophy also, well, you've seen part of the results of that also on the main stage. But we actually split that up in a few different steps here, because we know that we need to be on board with AI, of course. So we want to make sure that what we are gathering with AI, it's actually going to help you. And in this case, we can see that it should make things easier, a lot faster, and it should be very actionable. So we should actually be able to do something concrete with this. That's exactly what I'm going to try to show you today. How can we leverage all three of those things, try and put it into one prompt, so that we can actually get something out of it that we can do and fix directly after. Wherever our clients are at this moment, we see that there are different levels of maturity on how our clients are using AI at the moment. So exactly for that reason, I think the most and easy way to start with it is actually using our Sense Analyst within the platform. You don't need your own tools internally to have set up already and have some borders around that. You can just leverage the platform itself and start to show some insights from there. What we then see is that usually a next step goes a little bit more towards the MCP connectors. So with that MCP connectors, as you've seen before, we can actually show you connections with different tools and leverage the data with other tools and combine that. And that's actually usually a next step for our customers to grow into there. Of course, we see that some of our customers are very experienced and want to go even further with that and build their own models. Therefore, we have, of course, the Data Connect, which we have shown on stage as well. To demo that is not really a sexy thing to do, because it's just a big table with data. I'm not going to show you that today. But for the ones who are interested in that, I'm happy to talk to you about this later at our booth. So first of all, let's show you the Sense Analyst, this time live. So some of you have already tried it out, right? You can actually see it within the platform already on your screens. It's the Sense Analyst. We briefly spoke about the newsroom, which is already there and has some pre-built queries for you, which you can use as a starting point. But for today, I actually want to make sure that we are going to try some things ourselves and going to write our own prompts here. The thing with this is that I actually find it, when I was learning this, sometimes quite a bit difficult to make sure that I get everything in here. The trick is to be very precise. So we need to make sure that we fill in what do we want to compare, where do we want to compare it to, is that different time frames, week over week, month over month, different segmentations we want to leverage, maybe some mappings we specifically want to use for certain use cases we are investigating. And to make that very concrete, we have, of course, as shown before, a few of the standard templates created already. So I can just say a business overview from the last 7 days. I put that in here. It will give me some areas to focus on, see some big improvements, some frictions and some chance to optimize, and where do you see the biggest opportunities for conversion. As you will then see, it will start to leverage the different modules in our platform and combine those insights into one view right here. So it will build a plan first, and it will gather that data from all of those different angles. That's going to take a few seconds here, as you see that here on the screen. And while it's running through that, I can also say that this has been a good starting point for me to start with. This is how I've been looking at things. We can actually see that. I hope that the Wi-Fi won't. There it is. It will actually start to compare some data for different devices. So it starts to leverage the page comparator, as you can see right here live. It directly starts to look at some errors, which might be in my project, so that it gets some basic information of what is actually going on. You can see the desktop and mobile here as well. It will then start to deep dive a little bit more on some funnels, some journeys, and start to create some zones as well. Before I actually started this one off, I also run another prompt, which is a little bit more elaborate and a little bit more precise, and I want to actually walk you through that one, while the other one keeps running in the background. So I made a very specific one here. I wanted to make it very clear that I can do something I want to do maybe every day, or something that I'm responsible every week. So I describe my role. In this case, I described that I want to analyze the C-store website with a full funnel analysis covering the different pages, identify those opportunities for a certain time period, and break down all the findings defined on different devices here. I also told to focus on some key metrics and give me a prioritized list, including some actionable recommendations. So if I ask it, what should you do next, or what should I do next, it will also tell me what it found and what, for me, the solution is to take that into a next step. I've had that one run already, and it does a similar approach. It starts to compare some data points first. It will find some funnels, it creates those funnels here. Since this runs for, I think, 4 or 5 minutes, I think it's easier to scroll through it. You've seen the zoning. It starts to create those zones, sees the interactions which users have with those different interactions on my sneaker store here as well. And in the bottom, it will actually tell me an executive summary, which I can actually copy directly into a slide, because that's one of the prompts I asked for. And it gives me a top 5 insights which I want to focus on. If I dive a little deeper, we can actually go here and actually get, for all of these findings, some root causes, which we think are actually the cause of these insights we found, and some recommendations on things we can improve directly by looking at the follow-up steps here. I'm not going to walk you through all 5 of them right here, because maybe I should have done just the top 3 here, but this is just the way. Ask for those follow-up questions as well, so that it will tell you what you should do next, so that you make sure that you can actually do something with this. To be honest, for me this was very difficult to write the correct prompts in the first time. But once you have those done, it's actually very powerful to also start to schedule these. So I actually spoke to a few of you today already. Some people have been trying this and actually create a Monday morning report based on these specific prompts. You can see that the prompt I've created here, and maybe I want to fine-tune that a little bit more. Make sure I get this every Monday morning in my mailbox to start off my week with a very efficient Monday morning. To build this prompt, I actually cheated a little bit. I had some difficulties in the first few months with trying this, and therefore I've actually used Claude to help me write these prompts. Because this is actually making those prompts way more complete, I found. I tend to forget sometimes, like, hey, I want the results presented in a certain way. Or sometimes I forget to add to the prompt, I want that follow-up action to be defined. So I just said, okay, I'm a data analyst at Contentsquare for a C-store, and I want to write a prompt for the Sense Analyst here. Ask me 10 questions to help me write that prompt. And in this case, that's exactly what, in my case, Claude helped me out with. It asked me some questions. It gave me an A/B's 1, 2, 3, 4, so I answered with 1, 2, a full funnel analysis I wanted to do, week over week. All these things, it helped me to create that prompt, and then in the end, it just put it out here. For me, it was a copy-paste to actually put it in there. This way, you can cheat a little, but you never forget to fill the full prompt with the correct analysis to make sure you get the right comparisons all the time. Very curious to hear maybe next week the first tries and first results you've done yourselves. So look me in your emails if you have found something cool. So that was the Sense Analyst. This works very well within the platform and was that first step, which for all of you here can be activated by yourselves, and you can start using today. That next step, the MCP, is where I'm going to leverage Claude in a few other ways. We've shown already on stage that we have, of course, different LLMs included. So we have ChatGPT, we have Claude, Copilot. There are plenty of others which we can integrate with. But for today, I will use my Claude environment. So in this case, you can actually see that I can ask my website for issues that I covered last week and tell me the impact of it. Let me see if I can run that command here live again, since it is a live demo. And then it will start to talk to Contentsquare MCP, where it's actually seeing, hey, what can we actually see? It will ask me, you can see here, can I actually go into Contentsquare? I will always allow that in this case. And it will get into the correct projects which I'm assigned to there. You can see it's going to communicate there, extract that data itself, and then will present me those results. Also here, this is of course a very basic prompt. The more advanced you're going to make this, the more elaborate that will become. And if I ask for some concrete actions to follow up on, it will then of course start to follow up with those things as well. It's also going to do the business opportunities here. The thing is, of course, this is the data of Contentsquare itself. It's very cool to have that in here, but I think, and that's where those next steps are for, it's becoming more and more interesting if we can collaborate this with some other tools. So of course, most of the big tools out there are investing in some kind of an MCP connection, and therefore I have an example based on Jira, where I can actually say, okay, what is actually happening within my Jira? Can I find the issues I've already created before? So I made a dashboard here. Oh, it's actually not showing. There it is. I made a website performance dashboard, very elaborate, where I can actually get an overview of all the data that is in Contentsquare already. So I can get that overview here. Maybe I want to look today on what's actually going on. Some top 3 recommendations, which are all the way down here. I can leverage the funnel insights, which we are also gathering from Contentsquare. But in this example, maybe we want to look at what is actually going on in Jira. We have some things already defined there. This is being linked up to Contentsquare, of course, as well, because some of the issues we find, we can directly send from the session replays or error analysis directly into Jira for our teams to pick up. We can actually see that some of those items are still on the backlog. And maybe I want to make sure that we can actually start working on them and start to change them right from here. And with the MCP, I can connect that back to Jira, so that it actually becomes a different state again. So here, this is of course an example with Jira. We can do this with A/B testing tools, but also with something that's pretty cool. We can do that a little bit further by looking at an agentic workflow where we can actually let it fix that issue itself with GitHub. So this example is actually quite a new one which we have been exploring, where we can see, we can give very concrete questions like build a visualization to show me those errors which are happening, visualize the error losing the most money first, open an issue in GitHub for this error, and make sure you include the summary of what is actually happening, and assign the issue to the GitHub Copilot to follow up, or actually, in this case, we're going to fix that issue. So you can see it actually pulled all that data out. It went into Contentsquare. You can actually see it used different error modules, and it filtered out the ones which had the most impact. It found that in this case there was an issue with a coupon code that did not exist. From there, it linked that up. It created the GitHub issue, which I'm going to click into in a second, and it actually assigned the Copilot within GitHub to take a look at it. If I go down here, I can actually go into that specific issue. I can open up that link. And in GitHub, you can actually see it sent over all the data Contentsquare has on this specific issue. So we can see there was a checkout error. It was costing us 25,000 euros, as you saw already in the graphs before. We can see how many users are being affected there. Some details on the error. We have done a root cause analysis as well, based on all the information Contentsquare has on those errors that are happening. We can actually see a root cause here. And it actually recommends me some fixes here as well. A testing checklist in the end to see if it is actually being fixed. Also that we have added here to the subscription, so that it's actually very easy within GitHub to start following this up. In this case, you can see that my colleague Jack has actually asked the Copilot, or well, Claude has done that via Jack's account, assigned Copilot to it, where you can see that Copilot created a pull request, started to build the fix, and now it's actually for us waiting to be checked. If I go back there, you can see it's actually being created. It's now ready for review. So Copilot, another agent in this case, is fixing this issue by itself, and therefore we can actually start to just take a look at the review of that code before we even push this back into production. So these are the kind of examples I see some of our customers already growing towards, which is actually pretty, I have to say, pretty cool to see myself. This is something really new, and even I cannot keep up with what is going on here anymore. So I'm very curious to hear in the coming weeks if you guys are working with this yourselves, if you come up with these use cases, and please let me know if there's anything I can help you out with there. So try this out yourselves, and yeah, let me know how that goes. And I hope you have an enjoyable afternoon.
Amazing, cool, thank you. Are you okay for Q&A?
Sorry.
Are you okay to answer some questions?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, amazing, cool. So we have a little bit longer in this room with us. So I am going to put hands on the spot and ask if you have any questions, because I know a lot of that might have been a bit new for some people. Perhaps some people are already using Sense Analyst because they've been part of the free trial, which is live. And you actually want to know, can I take this further? Are we using this the right way? We've got a microphone in the middle, so hands up if you've got any questions. Oh, right in front of you here. Amazing.
Could you show again, regarding the Sense Analyst, where do you find the automatic search, but they can update you every week?
Yeah, so on the end, right? So I've done one of my prompts here. In this case, it was a very elaborate one. And I think you mean this one here on the bottom, the scheduling, right? So it's on the, once it's finished and it has a result you actually like, you can actually schedule this prompt, and as you've seen me do before, it will actually allow you to maybe fine-tune things a little bit more, right? Or maybe I have done this first a few other tries, right? So I've fine-tuned the result with Sense itself. We can then make sure that we check it here. Maybe you don't want it week over week. We want to make it month over month, right? And that's the one I want to get every first of the month. And then we can get that email going up daily, weekly, monthly, Monday morning in my mailbox, and there it will be.
Where do you, if I need to change it, is there a menu where I find all this scheduling?
Yeah. So if I go back here, I'll just go over it. You will actually see that if I open this up, my personal ones will show up here, and then you can change the prompt, update the timing. Yeah, it's all there.
Fantastic question. And another, putting you on the spot with the live Wi-Fi, the live demo and everything happening. Anybody else have a question? Right at the back. We were running back with the microphone. Thank you so much.
When using the MCP integration, can you give an idea of the size of the data you put in the context of Claude?
Sorry,
the size of the data you put into the Claude context window when you use the MCP integration. How many tokens does it take up?
Ooh, that's a good one actually. I have to look it up. I'll come back to you. If you find me later, I'll check that with my colleagues on if they have some more information on it.
Great question. I love it when we can't answer something. It's always like, okay, we need to prepare better. I like it. Fantastic question. But yeah, like you said, we've got a whole team here. Come and find the booth and we'll get the answer for you. And if anyone else wants the answer as well, come and find us. Cool. Anyone else? Any other questions? There's got to be someone there. All the way over here. We're going to make her run. We're going to go for it. Thank you.
Yeah, so I was wondering what kind of setup or preparing you have done. So you say the Sense Analyst is sort of out of the box, but I assume there's some mapping you have to do first within Contentsquare to actually use it. Yep. So how much effort or preparement did you put into before you can use Sense Analyst and the MCP connection?
Yeah, so Sense Analyst works on an implemented project, right? So once it's been set up, the basic tracking has been confirmed with your teams. We have everything set up for normal analysis, so you need a mapping for a journey analysis already. If those things, the basics are there, so you get a check-off on your implementation trajectory with our implementation team. That should also be the check mark for Sense Analyst to be used. So it needs indeed that reference mapping as a basic. Maybe you have a very specific deep dive mapping you created for a certain analysis. Put that in your prompt. I want to use this one. It needs to be there, but that's usually part of the first check marks before we finish the onboarding.
Do you also suggest then pointing to those reference mappings in your prompts?
Yeah. The more concrete you make it, the better the results are. And this is a demo project which sometimes becomes a bit messy. If I forget to do that in these projects, for me it becomes a horrible result. So it needs to be very specific. The more specific I am, the better it is. Yeah.
Thanks.
And otherwise it will take the reference mappings as a standard. Yeah.
Fantastic question again. Okay, we've probably got time for one more question. Anybody else? Right over here. Oh, okay, maybe we can squeeze in 2 more questions. I don't want you to miss out. Okay, go for it. Thank you.
Just a small question, maybe a silly one, but your customer base, is it mainly like an open environment, or is the product also very suitable for closed environments, so in terms of privacy of customers?
So the MCP, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So funny is, of course, I now use my cloud environment because that's more recognizable for people here in the room. We have an internal tool as well, which we could also connect to Dust. But if I start showing Dust here, I first have to explain what Dust is. So you can also use internal language models as long as they support MCP connections. It's a standard protocol being used by those LLMs. So if you have an internal one that supports MCP protocols, it will work.
Fantastic question, incredible. And then I did promise all the way at the other end of the room again, I'm so sorry. Or maybe you can shout louder, final question for the room.
I was wondering if the output generated by the Sense AI can also be used to create dashboards inside of Contentsquare's dashboard functionality.
Fantastic question. I'll repeat it for the room. So if the data within all of this can then be used within Contentsquare to create dashboards for visualizations. Short summary of what the question was.
So at the moment, not yet, but we have within Sense that it has some standard dashboards which we can already use, the Sense Chat, so it can create some standard ones. I think this is a great idea for us to put on our roadmap because this would be one of the next steps. To be honest, we are still, of course, building this and it changes sometimes even week by week. I get sometimes surprised by that as well. But I am not surprised that this would be one of our next steps here.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got an incredible product team who consistently ask for feedback, and particularly things like Sense Analyst, which has just been on a trial and now we're pushing it live. This feedback again and again, they listen to everything. So any feedback like that, anything you want to see, let us know, and our product team genuinely do answer, and you'll probably see it before we're on stage on here next year. So thank you so much for bringing that up. But yeah, that is time that we wrap. So thank you so much, everyone. A big round of applause for Hans. Thank you so much.